This is Med News reporting from Cedar City, Utah. I'm Brock Parker Shipp.
And I'm Jesse Ronald Jones. And today we are here with Dr. Robert Koch and his assistant, Julius Petrie.
We're just wondering if we could maybe start out by analyzing your guys' career and the conditions of Germany while you guys were researching microbiology.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so during this time in Germany, were there diseases that were coming through? Is that what interested yourselves within microbiology?
Yes, there were many diseases coming through, killing many people. They're all bacterial.
Would you maybe like to tell us the names of these bacteria that were sweeping through the area?
Yeah. Basically tuberculosis, anthrax, cholera.
Cholera?
Cholera. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've heard about those. They are all seem to be very fatal, right?
Yes.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
in Germany with the diseases, those were a big contribution to you guys going into microbiology. Could you tell us about some of the symptoms that you noticed or about the diseases?
Yeah, a lot of the symptoms were just like extreme coughing, so we didn't understand that it was actually a very fatal disease until they started to die.
So I understand that these diseases are all bacterial, am I right?
Yes.
And so while you were, can you explain to me how you studied these bacteria or what was going on in that process?
Well, we had to figure out a way to find out what the bacteria was doing to the cells and how it was growing. And so we needed a controlled environment to create a culture of the bacteria. And during this time, this is when I created the Petri dish.
Now I understand that these three diseases were all bacterial. So seeing as all of them come from the same source, were there maybe any few, or is there a select one that you chose to research and case study?
Yeah, we definitely studied tuberculosis the most.
What made you guys want to study TB more than the others? Maybe I'll direct this more towards Julius, because I'm sure your Petri dishes came in quite handy.
Yes, they definitely helped with the accommodation of bacteria. We mainly focused on tuberculosis. It was the most widespread. A lot of people were getting it. Later in research, we found out it was airborne. And a major symptom of this is chronic coughing. And coughing out into the air, people are getting it more often. And so we definitely want to focus on that.
Now I understand that you did your, you learned at what school was this?
University of Göttingen.
And then you did your studies maybe, did you do them there or did you move on to a different university to continue your studies?
Later on, I started teaching as a professor at the University of Berlin.
And this is where you conducted.
Yeah, we did a lot more studies on the bacteria there.
Thank you for joining us on this fine evening. Just kind of to recognize you, scientists have argued that you, Dr. Robert Koch, were, if not, have been the best microbiologist there ever was to exist.
Oh, thank you.
In fact, you got a Nobel Prize. That's pretty great.
Yes, I was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1905 for my studies of microbiology.
And you had a contemporary microbiologist, Louis Pasteur. Tell us a little bit about that.
He was very smart. He did a lot of work, and he was a great microbiologist, but he passed away before the Nobel Prize was given.
Okay.
Now, with my knowledge of this whole Nobel Prize thing, Julius, you were not actually given a Nobel Prize for your work.
Yep.
But you definitely had one of the greatest contributions to microbiology. What was the experience like working with Dr. Koch?
Definitely amazing. It was an absolute pleasure to work with him, and in my mind, he's the greatest microbiologist of all time.
Thanks again for joining us.
No problem.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure.
It was good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
See you next time.
Odd men do's.